6 months ago, I documented my very first experience dealing with the Gran Turismo World Series, an online championship where you compete against everyone else in the world to see who's the best of the best. Generally speaking, the Gran Turismo World Series is broken up into 3 leagues. It is GT1, which is the top 10,000 players in the world, GT2, which is broken up into the next 180,000 best players in the world, and then GT3 is out of a total of 1.5 million players playing, it is the bottom 1.2 million players. Now, 6 months ago, I had very little online multiplayer experience, and naturally I was placed as a D rank driver in GT3. My goal, my promise to myself, is that the next time an online championship occurred, I would be in GT2. I think I have it in me to get there, but when it was finally announced just earlier this week that Gran Turismo 7's Exhibition 3 for the World Series is coming, I realized that now as a C-ranked driver, I had very little time to do a lot of work. So this entire session, all these races that I will be grinding out here will be the Autodrome Lego Maggiore, the Daily Race B, which will be using for the first half the Acura NSX Group 4. These are the Group 4 races, and then in the latter half I'll make a change and you'll understand why later. So this first race, I am trying my best to stay clean, to keep everyone behind me, and thankfully I actually started out in 4th. I actually had a pretty good, I used the world record time as a ghost and a template, and used that time trial as kind of like a template to get me up here. And honestly, because of that, I was in a C-level lobby with S rating, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody was necessarily clean racing, per se. So I had done my best to stay clean through all of this and to keep my head just out of the dirt and everything, but then by lap 3, I'm just starting to lose it a little bit, with the people behind me starting to gain a little bit of ground. And I lost maybe a place or two, and then we're coming up into the most infamous corner of this track. You've got this giant downhill, and then this absolutely tight, it's worse than a right-hander, but I could never get it just right. Now, although I lost the place here, we'll make it up later, but this fight that I have with this driver here, this is why I love this safety rating S, or driving within the same safety rating, because we're taking, for the next couple of laps, we're dueling it out, side by side, going too wide into these turns, and we're giving each other enough space to just keep it going. And it was just absolutely exhilarating. It was just some of the best driving that I've had in a long time, and it was a great first race to start out, considering that it's been months and months since my last online race. And we are just, again, just duking it out, dueling it out, and just an awesome race that I finished all the way down into, yes, 3rd place. I have some amazing fighting at the very end. We're doing some switchbacks. We're going down to the final corner, and I was able to make up that place a little bit earlier, but I was able to keep them behind for that last corner. So again, just an absolutely exhilarating race. And my God, I am so excited to see what the rest of the night goes. For the next race, we're getting very close to the top of driver rating C, and we're still with the S ratings, but again, it just didn't necessarily seem like it was quite accurate for the safety rating, because this race, we had so many people with their elbows out, just fighting door to door. And here I am just making so many mistakes and just letting 2 people by on the 2nd lap on the 1st corner. Not a very great start. I'm already dropping places like flies, and here I am going into this corner here, and unfortunately missed my apex a little bit and had a little bit of an issue colliding with another driver, and on the way by, somebody gives me a little slap on the door, say, hey, what the hell was that about? And to be fair, they're incredibly correct about asking what the hell that was. And furthermore, we're going through this race, making up a little bit of places here and there. Like I said, the safety rating wasn't necessarily accurate because we're coming up here to yet again this infamous corner, and we're seeing some people just driving other people off the course, and so I knew I had to keep my wits about me, seeing what was potentially going to be my fate if I was not careful. So we're coming up to this troublemaker, as we'll call him, and he had a little bit of a snap of oversteer. We're going through, we're having this great moment where just, again, another switchback overtake. And then as I'm driving straight, suddenly I'm going towards the wall, but then I'm not. And I'm like, well, I don't know what the hell that was about. So in the replay later, we see this absolute, just horrible move where he tries to take me out, but he bounces off my car, eats it in the wall, and I get away with minimal damage. So, karma, shall we say. After that, I have 2 more exceptional races where I place quite nicely, so my driver rating is really getting up there. And then many of you can tell here, this is the moment that it changes. So our typical lobby was just full of driver rating C's, top level safety rating of S, and all of a sudden our lobby is looking a little bit different. We've got driver rating B with safety rating B among C S's. So at this point, the top of the C level driving rank is now fighting against the bottom of the B driving rank, which you all know what that means. If I thought we were racing dirty before, that's not the case, because we are now just fully taking out other drivers, absolutely, completely disregarding everybody's safety, because if we can make a place and we can take somebody else out while doing it, we're taking the place, and it's just absolutely carnage. Many people who have climbed the ladder will know of this experience where you have multiple great races, clean races at the top of your current level, but as soon as you get down into the bottom of the next rank, it is just all-out carnage. You're just trying your best to survive for as long as physically possible, because all you just want to do is just get up there into that top rank and just make your moves up there. And you want to do it as cleanly as possible, but if you're dealing with all that carnage, sometimes it doesn't necessarily go your way. We're coming around this corner here. Yes, the infamous corner. I thought I gave him enough room. He says otherwise. He does a pit maneuver on me, and I am just furious. So we'll take a look at this little replay here from the person behind. Again, I thought I gave him enough room. He tapped me on the back corner and weirdly enough pitted me in the opposite direction. But how he walked away without a penalty is just completely beyond me. So after taking a massive hit to my pride, I take another hit to my pride as I, on the last corner, go from 7th, tumbling down the order, all the way down to 12th place. It was a just horrific ending after a bad race. And we'll take a look at this replay because it's actually, in hindsight, it's actually quite humorous. I don't know why I thought I could make this work, but I just bounce right off of him and take myself out. But when we take a look at his perspective, I actually just kind of straightened him out. So it worked out really good for him, I guess. So as you can tell, we've got a kind of a rhythm going. We're in the top level of C with top level S level safety rating. We've got race after race that just perform extremely well. And I'm just getting my confidence up. And then by the time we get into that mixed level between the C's and the B's, well, the inevitable happens where I get taken out by thinking that I can outdrive them and I can do their own maneuvers against them, defensive drive or offensive drive, and just play dirty with them. I just take myself out every single time. So that just is not working for me here. So this next race is a little bit interesting considering the fact that we are now positioned ourselves into P2 after qualifying. We have one person ahead of us by 1/10 and third place is behind us by nearly a second. So it's almost as if Polyphony is just trying to give us this next race. At this point, I changed over to the GT by Citroen Group 4 car. And the reason is because instead of trying my best to make a car that really wasn't set up well for this track with the Acura NSX, I decided, you know, let's stop giving ourselves more problems, and let's just go for the fastest car. So after a fairly clean first lap, we get into the second lap, and this happens. Okay, I really don't like this guy. Yes! Wait, what? How did I get a 5-second penalty? What just happened? So I deservedly received a half-second penalty for track limits, but then I received out of the blue a 5-second penalty, and I'm not quite sure necessarily how that happened. But this lobby is more competitive than I was thinking because I tumbled down the order all the way down to 11th, and now I'm just cutting through the field. I don't know how this was actually happening here. I was getting some incredible luck here, just weaving through the traffic like it's playing with AI. It was just otherworldly, just making these moves. And yes, I was driving angry, but I wasn't driving angry where I was like pushing myself too far or outbraking myself. It's just all these other drivers just had these minor mistakes I was really just capitalizing on, and I just had these incredible runs. And then we get towards the end, we've got the person up in third place receiving a half-second penalty, goes all the way down to 5th, which promotes me up to a podium position. Again, no idea how this happened. And like I said, just absolute incredible luck. So I decide, let's go back and take a look at the replay, and then I find out what happened. I tapped him? No, I didn't! Holy what? It turns out all the luck that I had was in response to this moment where the back corner clipped the hitbox of my car and gave me the 5-second penalty, which is so weird when that gives me a massive penalty and then something like this doesn't give them a penalty. Salt and shade aside, had another race and performed well, so we're back in our groove, I hope, which didn't last very long because yet again we're back up into that crossover, and one little bit of a mistake turns into just everyone capitalizing on it and just pushing me around and making me tumble down the order. Just absolutely horrible start to the next race. And then I just hit this apex a little bit weird, go a little bit wide, and spin myself out. So ultimately, I finished this race in 12th, and that's only because everybody else that was behind me decided to quit the race. And at this point, I'm feeling awful. Will I actually ever get up to driver rating B, especially before the Exhibition 3 event? It's not looking like it. I think all my great results in the top level of the C rank races really put me in a good position, because whenever I lost out on those weird kind of crossover races, I didn't lose that much driver rating. So yet again, I'm put into this kind of crossover race, and we're having some issues with first and second, but I am just putting myself down on the line and just racing as best as I can against this B rank level driver who is a safety rating B, and you can definitely tell that for sure here. And this entire race was just me trying my best to keep up with this B level rank driver, and he himself is overdriving and then driving the doors off everybody else. But there are some moments when he has some really clean driving, and for a lot of this cases here, I'm not driving perfectly myself, but there are some other drivers that are really putting in some solid performances. And to be quite frank, when they came up on me, I was kind of letting them by because I didn't want to deal with this other driver, but he still managed to weave his way through. As you can tell, just not clean driving from the whole group. So again, we're just going at it here. I'm having some great moments where I'm just able to hit this last corner just perfectly, carry the speed through up into the main straight, and I'm finally getting this overtake done on our very infamous, notorious driver, going side by side into yet again the infamous corner down the hill. And at this point, I'm really noticing that my driving has really improved, because at the beginning, going back, looking all the way back to my Nations Cup and my Manufacturer Cup, there would be some moments where I'd be driving with people and I would see them in the rear view mirror and I'd freak myself out But there are so many moments here where I'm having these exceptionally close driving battles with people, and I'm not getting flustered by it. I'm seeing them take themselves out, and they're them making these mistakes, and I'm just weirdly able to like capitalize it. I'm not getting flustered the way that I used to. It's like I know that when they're behind me, they're not just going to ram me off the course like they used to in driver rating D. You know, so with that, it just really helps my mental ability here, being able to just have the fortitude to look around and make exceptionally good decisions and see when other people are messing up, and really just having the emotional stability not to get screwed up when somebody's chasing my shadow. And just in this moment here, speaking of chasing shadows, at this point, now we have an absolute beautiful race. I love these races here because it feels like I'm chasing the time trial ghost, but as you can tell, he's taking much different lines than I am. And these battles are just phenomenal because we're putting in our absolute best performances, and nobody is really making mistakes. And it's just, I keep on using the word exhilarating, but like I really need to get my heart rate monitor back on film here, because these are just extraordinary races with these other drivers, and I am just so excited to deal with potentially more of this. I get up into driver rank B, but even still, these level CS races that I've been doing these past couple of nights has really made me fall back in love with the multiplayer racing, that I really hope that I can just come back and keep doing more of it. And then we get to this absolute amazing moment here. We're coming around the corner here. We were able to keep off 4th place. Yes, we weren't able to make it up into 2nd, but man, oh man, was that just a very exceptional race. So this was it. At this point, I had performed well enough that this was going to be yet another one of those crossover races. But instead of flooding the lobby with B-level drivers with B-level rating, it was another CS race. And this, I don't know what happened, but whenever I was in kind of those kind of crossover races, the tire grip just never seemed right. And it seems like that everybody was just pushing so hard, and it was just the cold tires were making mistakes for me. But I walked into this lobby, and it felt like it was qualifying all over. Yes, we're on race hard tires, but it felt more like race soft tires. I don't know what happened. I think the conditions were just right, where the track was maybe at an ambient temperature that was warmer than some of these other races, because I hit the ground running, and I didn't stop until the end. And again, like I was saying before, these races where you're chasing one another, you're just within tenths of one another, is just exceptional. So for this first part, I was very close with this driver, RCR Nugs, and you'll see here why I'm giving props later, but he is just I imagine they were just a amazing driver here, because if I had somebody, if I was in his position or their position and saw someone like me chasing them down within tenths for laps on end, I know for a fact that I would have made a mistake, because I'd be looking in my mirror constantly. And they put on just an amazing performance where they were doing their lines just perfectly. They weren't getting flustered by my presence, and it was absolutely extraordinary. But it didn't last forever, because finally they pushed themselves a little bit too far, and I was able to capitalize on that. And that was incredible, considering the fact that I had a single mistake that I saw, and I was able to make it. And then we're coming up to the final corner, and now we're here. Gotta run. Oh, this isn't even the last lap. Son of a... I thought that was it. I almost celebrated too early. I was so excited that I finally made the pass that I completely forgot to take a look at the lap counter. But I somehow made it through. I felt the mistakes, but I was able to keep them off, and I was able to cross the line in first place out of 14 races in 2 days. I finally got my first win of this section, of this series. Overall, I want to say I'm up to about 5 wins in total, but it was just a great race. And again, I want to give massive props to RSR Nugs because they put out an incredible performance, and it was just a really good race, simply put. So we got done with the race, so I had to check. B! Yes! Can I enter? GT2! Yes! Oh! GT2. GT2. I'm not the last one anymore. I did it. 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 God, that's so cool. So yes, you're looking at a B-level driver now, within the top 180,000 players in the world in Gran Turismo 7. Yes, that doesn't sound like that's any good, but when you compare it against the fact that I'm within the top 12% of the world, up above 1.3 million players, it's kind of crazy. I never thought I would get here. I thought I was an okay driver, and yeah, I was the best among my friends or whatever, but whenever I play online, I would just seem to get my butt handed to myself just constantly. It's just, I knew that there's so many great drivers out there, but to see where I've come from that D-level driver, having so many mistakes constantly in the Manufacturers Cup, to see just even 6 months later, in a way, I kind of knew that there's a part of me that had that drive and the determination to really put myself out there and say, hey, I can do something. Yes, I'm acting like I just got into the top 1% of the... No, I'm not even close, but it's an incredible journey. And I remember being in previous racing leagues where I'd see these B-level drivers and go, wow, they're so good and they're so fast and they're so clean, and how do they do it? And I can consider myself one of them now, which is crazy. So now I gotta prove myself in Exhibition 3 in GT2 League. So I better get working on that. Again, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. And if you enjoy this content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Fanatec affiliate link down in the description below, and check out my merchandise store at oweo.com/store/Matt51Westby. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the GT2 League. Take care. Bye!